welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back.
Hey, good morning, Marbury High School. This is Lyman Woodfin. I'm the principal here at the school. First off, let me just say how glad we are to have you back. My staff and I are excited to have you back on campus. We are all looking forward to a great year. During this video, Mr. Harrison and I will walk through some important items for you to know about how our school operates. Mr. Harrison will discuss lunch procedures, phones, discipline in the parking lot. I will discuss several other items. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our awesome assistant principal, Mr. Harrison.
Good morning. My name is Mr. Harrison. I'm assistant principal at Marbury High School, and one of my jobs is to help you be successful and get you through high school. I'm going to talk about a few areas today. The first one I'm going to talk about is lunch procedures. Until further notice, all lunches will be served in the classroom. The cafeteria staff will come around the rooms and serve you rather than you coming to the lunchroom. After you eat, you'll be expected to throw away your trash in a can located outside of your classroom. Microwaves, unfortunately, are not available for student lunches at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Right now, you should be in homeroom, okay? We will report to homeroom every day this week to start the day. After homeroom, we will operate on an odd and an even schedule. Odd means you go to first, third, fifth, and seventh periods. Even means you go to second, fourth, sixth, and eighth periods. We will begin today on an odd schedule. So after homeroom, if time permits, you will report to first period. Tomorrow, again after homeroom, you will report to second period. If your schedule says ACTC for the first week only, you will report to the gym during first and second period. Third and fourth as well if it says that. Starting next Monday, all students that are scheduled to attend classes at the ACTC will ride the bus there. We expect our students to make it to class on time, guys. However, for the first 2 weeks, tardies will not count. After the first 2 weeks, we will begin to start tardies after that. Okay, so you have 2 weeks and then we got to get going on tardies. When you need to check out, you will give your first or second period teacher your checkout note from your parent. Your first period teacher will fill out the card and give you a portion of the blue card. The front office will confirm with your parents that you have permission to check out. If your parents confirm you have permission, then you will come to the front office and check out. No one will be allowed to check out without the school being able to confirm that with your parents.
Cell phones. Cell phones are not to be used while on campus unless given specific permission from a teacher. The only time a teacher will give you permission is if you're working on an assignment for that teacher. We expect you to keep your phone powered off and out of sight at all times.
Seniors, you may see early release on your schedule. If you have early release, then that means you can leave campus during those periods. However, please remember that you cannot stay on campus if you are scheduled for early release. Regarding schedule changes, you should have a blue form in which you need to fill it out if you are requesting a schedule change. Okay? This form must be signed by your parent or your guardian.
The discipline process at Marbury High School is pretty simple. We expect you to be respectful, responsible, and resourceful at all times as a student at Marbury High School. While in class or other areas, we expect you to 1. Demonstrate respect for others. 2. Not to have inappropriate items such as electronic devices, food or drink, or other inappropriate items unless otherwise stated by the teacher. 3. Be on time, prepared, and responsible for your work. Failure to meet these expectations will result in classroom consequences or an office referral.
If you have your student handbook, this is what it should look like. Please get them out now. I'm going to review a couple of key areas that we spend a lot of time on during the day, okay? First off, on page 10, in the section that says when to keep your child home. There are a lot of symptoms listed here, guys. If you have any of these symptoms, please do not come to school. We will go over specific COVID-19 guidelines shortly, but again, please don't come to school if you have any symptoms listed on page 10. A couple of these that I will hit briefly: a fever with 100.4 or above. Obviously, if you're vomiting or have diarrhea or a rash, pink eye, things of that nature, we cannot have you come here. As far as it relates for COVID, we're going to get into some more stuff on that in a minute, but really the main thing is that fever, guys. If you're running a fever, please don't come to school. All right, now we will review our dress code. Please turn to page 19. All right, on page 19, we have a lot of things listed there as far as what you can and cannot wear. Okay, I'm going to read through a couple of them. If you will look down on where it has the bullets, these are the main things. Strapless dresses, spaghetti straps, T-tops, muscle shirts, halter tops, things like that. Anything where the neckline obviously cannot be too low. The one that we run into the most problems with, guys, is shorts and skirts. Just remember, we have a 3-inch rule on that. We measure from the top of your knee. You have 3 inches. And guys, that's the girls and guys. You know, craziest thing ever. Last year we had a lot of problems with guys wearing shorts that were too short. I know that's the fashion, I guess, now, but the same 3-inch rule applies. Okay, the same 3-inch rule applies from the knee to the top. Okay, 3 inches. A couple more things on dress code. We do not allow bandanas or things like that. We're going to get into mask in a minute, but you cannot wear something that's offensive to on your face. If you need something, we will provide you with a mask. But again, no bandanas. I'm not going to read through all these, but just be very familiar with everything. The main thing that we deal with is the length of stuff above your knee. You got 3 inches above your knee. Anything else after that, we're going to make you come up to the front office. We'll have you call your parents. If they can't bring you something, you have to go to ISS until they bring you something to keep you within dress code. All right. So now we're going to turn to page 21. I'm going to go over a couple things with break. As you see, it says break is a privilege and should be treated as such. Now, guys, break will be differently this year. We're going to get into some more stuff in a second with COVID, but break will be handled in the classrooms. Basically, we will be coming around the last 10 minutes or so of Bulldog, and we'll be selling you things that you may want to drink and eat. But, guys, break is a privilege. We need you to help clean up, put your stuff in the trash. And again, until some of these regulations ease up, that's just what we have to do. It'll be in the classrooms. Okay? All right. Now, please turn to page 24. Page 24, where it says breakfast and lunch. Breakfast and lunch. All right. Little different than the handbook because these things changed once we had some things change with COVID. We had some guidelines change after we'd already gotten these printed. Main thing is this: on school arrival, if you want to eat from 7:15, because obviously school opens at 7:15. At 7:15, if you want to eat, you go to the lunchroom. Okay, it'll be a bag breakfast. You pick up your breakfast, you go to the gym. Same things we did this morning, right? At 7:30, we'll call for you to go to your classroom. But if you want to eat breakfast, it's served daily from 7:15 to 7:50. I say 7:50, but really it's 7:45 because class time starts at 7:50. Breakfast will be eaten in the classroom. So will lunch, guys. Again, the things that we've talked about with the COVID regulations, this is just what we have to do until things ease up. The same deal with lunch. You'll have 25 to 30 minutes. Your teachers will tell you when that's coming around. And you will, I know Mr. Harrison's already been over this, but again, we will do it the same way. They'll come around, we'll feed you, and we'll go from there. But good news on both of those. I will go in and tell you there's been some federal money that came through, and you can get free lunch and free breakfast. So make sure your parents know that. Still need you to fill out those forms, though, because that helps you in the second semester. That's the free lunch and free breakfast is only good through the first semester. Okay? All right, now please go to page 28. Page 28. The county gave us a waiver on the exemption policy. You will see absences required here. This is no longer the case. Again, some of this stuff changed after we had gotten everything printed. Basically, with the exemption policy this year, there is not an exemption policy. There is no absence required with COVID. Pretty much if you have a C, B, or A, at the end of the year, you'll be exempt from your final exams. So that is a good change. That should help you, some of you guys not come to school sick. Again, health is number one. We got to keep everybody safe. So no exemption policy this year. All right, now move to page 29. Okay, please find the section that's labeled textbooks. All right. Basically, what this section is saying is, yes, we're issuing you these textbooks. If you damage them, you're going to have to pay for the damages. Now, One of the good things that occurred on Friday at about 3 o'clock, we received the shipment for all of our textbooks. You should have textbooks across the board. We're going to start issuing those. I don't know if we'll quite get it done first week because, like I said, they came in Friday at around 3 o'clock. But the good news is we have no more classroom sets. We have enough textbooks, especially in our core classes, to give you a textbook for every class. So that's a good thing, but know that you are responsible for them, okay?
If you're a student driver in the parking lot, you're expected to only drive after you have purchased a parking permit. While your vehicle is on campus, it may be subject to search. You are personally responsible for any items that are in your vehicle, so it is vitally important that you are familiar with what is and what is not allowed to be in your possession while on campus at Marbury High School. In the afternoons, you're expected to leave immediately and not loiter in the student parking lot. Failure to abide by the rules for driving to school may result in losing this privilege.
Now, guys, we got to address the elephant in the room, so to speak, COVID-19. Okay, I need to review all the policies, prevention strategies, and vocabulary that you will need to know when we are all dealing with COVID-19. First, guys, masks are required for all people in the building when 6 feet of distance cannot be maintained. Masks are required during class transitions, in the restrooms, and other areas where you will be in groups with people. Masks must be worn in classrooms when you are within 6 feet of another desk, okay? You may also have heard of the term known as quarantine. What we mean when we say quarantine is that you must stay home, okay? Any person that violates the 615 rule must be quarantined. The 615 rule means that you are closer than 6 feet from someone that had COVID-19 for more than 15 minutes. Again, 6 feet or less for longer than 15 minutes, okay? What this means is, as a student, if someone in your class tests positive for COVID-19 and your desk is closer than 6 feet from that person, you will be required to quarantine at home for 14 days. While you are in quarantine, you will still be able to access our virtual school platform known as Schoology. You're going to get a lot of training on that this week, okay? Once your 14 days are up, you can come back to school. One big misconception out there, you cannot test out of a quarantine. I've had a lot of students already that were in quarantine that went and got a negative test and thought they could come back to campus. Guys, that is not my call. That is the Alabama Department of Public Health. If you are in quarantine, you have to finish your 14 days. Okay? So if you go get a COVID test and you test negative, you still must quarantine because you may not show symptoms for being positive for up to 14 days. Okay? You'll also hear all of my staff mentioning a word called social distancing. What this means is that you need to try to keep 6 feet of distance between you and other people at all times. Because of this, we cannot have lockers this year. This is also a state requirement. We can also not have field trips or assemblies. Unfortunately, this means we cannot have pep rallies until all these restrictions are eased up. Okay? As you go through the school, you will see several touch-free sanitization stations throughout school. You are free to use these as much as you would like. We're going to do our very best to keep them full so that you can use them as much as possible. Lastly, please remember everything I just reviewed is subject to change. We all feel your frustration because we know this year will not feel quite like other years. However, I am still very excited about the upcoming year. We're going to do everything we possibly can to make this year as best as possible. Remember, today, after homeroom, you will report to first period if time allows for that transition. All right, well, that pretty much wraps up our introduction video. I hope you have a great day, and as always, go Bulldogs.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.